WTQX. The evening wireless.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all ships at sea. This is WTQX, broadcasting on 360 meters, or 833 kilocycles. You're listening to the Evening Wireless for August 15th, 1926. I'm Edwin Allen. We're delighted to have your company this evening from whatever warm summer corner of the country your wireless set may be tuned. We invite you to settle in at your ease and join us as we reflect upon the day's happenings and share our observations with you. And we thank you, friends, as always, for your kind attention. Good evening. As I turned the pages of this week's newspapers, I found myself lingering, not upon any single headline, but upon the curious company they kept. One page spoke proudly of new records in speed and endurance. Another invited the reader to an evening of music and merriment. A third offered voyages to distant shores, whilst the next promised the newest moving picture, the latest motor car, or some fresh invention said to improve the comforts of everyday life. Taken alone, each is merely another story upon the page. Taken together, they seem to tell a story of America herself. Having spent many years observing the changes of our country, I confess there are moments when the speed of our transformation gives one pause. It is a curious thing to remember that, not so many decades ago, one's diversions were often simple affairs, a traveling vaudeville company arriving in town, a church social, a county fair, or a band concert upon the village green could become the event of the week, perhaps even the season. Nearly everyone attended, for there was little else to compete for one's attention. The entire community laughed together, applauded together, and carried the memory home together. The entire town may have collectively laughed at a particular joke that made its rounds for a year. Today, the newspapers offer another picture entirely. I read of Fire Engine Company number 21 in the nation's capital, a contest of speed, of all things. The contest consisted of the city's fire engines reacting and then racing along the road to a simulated fire alarm. This remarkable record was 6 seconds to clear their station. 6 seconds. And this contest is attempted throughout our country's cities and towns. These records will continue to be challenged. Turn the page, and there is Miss Gertrude Ederle, once again reminding the world that yesterday's record exists only until someone possesses the determination to surpass it. She crossed the tumultuous English Channel in record time, surpassing every previous holder of the record, gentlemen included. Look to her left and right, and there are divers ready to challenge the channel just as Miss Ederle exits the water. Elsewhere, I find a gala is concluded with a vast banquet to celebrate the start of the electrification of the Chicago suburban train lines. 2,200 people gathered to celebrate the time that these new trains promise to return to everyday life. The promise of greater speed, greeted not with hesitation, but with celebration. The keynote speech of that celebration was, of course, the word progress, appearing with remarkable confidence. Then come the motor cars, page after page, devoted not merely to their purchase, but to the roads that they shall travel, the journeys that they shall make possible, and the pleasures that they shall bring. Once again, in the Capital District of Columbia is the proposed Lee Boulevard, inviting motorists not simply to arrive at their destination, but to enjoy its scenery along the way. One cannot help but notice that our nation seems forever intent upon moving a little faster than it did yesterday. The funny pages spread themselves across an entire sheet of our newspapers. The theaters promise orchestras, comedians, grand photoplays, and evenings so full that one scarcely knows where the stage performance ends and the motion picture begins. There are advertisements for pianos, Wurlitzers, and a variety of musical instrumentation, each suggesting that music itself ought not to remain upon the stage, but find a place within the American parlor. One cannot help but suppose that such advertisements presume every American possesses not merely the desire, but the leisure to become a musician himself. I read editorials on how booksellers tempt younger readers with tales of daring adventure. The steamship companies beckon families towards oceans and distant ports. Even the neighborhood soda fountain extends a cheerful invitation to continue the evening's pleasures after the curtain has fallen. a 32-day sightseeing cruise to Spain, a scant 9 days to England from our home shores, the State Lake Pounds Theater, starting with Betty Blythe vaudeville, a series of comedians, and ending on the photoplay, The Seawolf, all in cool 70 degrees refrigerated comfort. As I laid these pages aside, I found myself wondering whether the greatest luxury now enjoyed by the American people is not merely prosperity, but abundance. Where once a missed performance meant waiting months for another opportunity, today, another concert awaits tomorrow evening. Another picture opens next week, or perhaps another has already begun just around the corner. Another excursion departs from another port. Another record is ready to be challenged almost before the ink announcing the last one has dried. Our age appears unwilling to remain still for very long. It wishes to travel farther, arrive sooner, accomplish more, and entertain itself in ever greater variety. There is a confidence to it all, a cheerful belief that tomorrow shall offer something new beyond today's horizon. We have all learned to anticipate it, and we are disappointed if it isn't there. Whether future generations shall think us a people living in an extraordinary pace, or simply fortunate to witness such remarkable plenty, I cannot pretend to know. I know only this. If one wishes to understand America in this summer of 1926, he need not look solely to the great events of history. He need only unfold his morning newspaper. Within its pages are speed and leisure, invention and amusement, ambition and contentment, all jostling for attention, each promising that tomorrow may yet prove even more remarkable than today. Thank you for your kind attention. Next, we head to the wires with Jimmie.
Here's the news hot off the wires, folks. Miami, Florida, pretty baroness jumps to death. Husband incensed she broke suicide pact. A man found attempting to hang himself was arrested when it was determined he was angry his wife broke their suicide pact. They had a promised agreement to die together. I suppose some couples simply can't help having arguments. Washington, D.C., 42 school children denied work permits. Children under the age of 16 were given work permits for the summer season, but several were denied due to frailty or extreme youth. What are those 42 kids going to do in summer now? Play? Rome, Italy, dueling law broken. Mussolini's anti-dueling law was recently broken when 2 Italian gentlemen used rapiers to solve their disagreement. What happened to the civilized use of dueling pistols, folks? Hagerstown, Maryland, low-priced peach crop bought by moonshiner. Illegal brandy makers intend to use the high-yield peach crop for making their beverage of choice. Honesty is a virtue, folks, but apparently so is making hooch brandy out of peaches. Washington, disrobing girl off to New York. A local beauty fined several times for removing her clothing in the streets of the capital has decided to move her activities to New York. I'm sure the men of D.C. mourn her loss. Newport, Rhode Island. Gem loss put at $500,000. The Vanderbilt family reported a theft from their wealthy villa during a recent party. The jewels and gems taken are valued at $500,000. I tell you, folks, I have a terrible stomachache when I lose a nickel. That's been the news from the wires. Back to the desk.
Thank you, Jimmie. The world never fails to amuse or cause concern. Next up for the broadcast is Colonel Frederick Davies with The Measure of Men.
Good evening. The field of sport never tires. This evening, beyond the usual contests upon the field and diamond, I wish to devote our attention to a contest unlike any other. For this was not a contest between 2 teams. There were no opposing uniforms, no scoreboard, and no finish line beyond the English coast. There was only one swimmer, one stretch of water, and one of nature's greatest challenges. The English Channel. For more than half a century, athletes from many nations have attempted the crossing of those waters. Since Captain Matthew Webb first accomplished this feat in 1875, the Channel has stood as one of the greatest tests of endurance known to sport. Many have entered its waters. Many have been forced to surrender to the cold, the currents, and the exhaustion that follows hour after hour of struggle. But on the 6th day of August, 1926, Miss Gertrude Ederle of New York entered those waters and accomplished what many believed nearly impossible. By all accounts, Miss Ederle swam the Channel at 14 hours and 31 minutes. That's upwards of 20,000 strokes, at an average of 28 strokes per minute. for 14 and a half hours. At 19 years of age, Miss Ederle has not merely completed the crossing, she has established a new record, surpassing the previous best times recorded by any swimmer who had faced that difficult passage before her. And let us be clear, the channel does not concern itself with reputation, nationality, or gender distinction. It offers the same challenge to every person who enters its waters. It does not grant advantage to one swimmer or another. It asks only whether one possesses the strength, the preparation, and the determination to continue. There were those who questioned whether certain athletic contests were suitable for women. Yet the channel has never made such a distinction. It has challenged every swimmer equally. Miss Ederle answered that challenge with remarkable courage. This achievement was not accomplished by chance. Behind every great athletic victory are countless hours unseen by the public. The training, the preparation, the discipline, and the support of those who stand alongside the competitor. Miss Ederle had attempted this crossing before. She returned better prepared, guided by her coach, her parents, and supported by a team, and indeed the entire general public, determined to see her succeed. And succeed she did. Her account of the journey, written for the public press, reveals not only the physical difficulty of the undertaking, but the remarkable composure of the young woman who endured it. She said she hardly felt tired and had no mind of giving up. It seems her driving incentive beyond personal accomplishment was a promised roadster automobile from her father, a prize well earned. Sport often celebrates the moment of victory, yet behind that moment lies something far more important. It's the willingness to attempt what others have failed to accomplish. Miss Ederle has reminded us that records exist, not as monuments, but as invitations. They stand before us only until another competitor finds the courage to reach beyond them, whomever they may be. And now, from the waters of the Channel, we turn briefly to the Diamond. Mr. Babe Ruth continues his extraordinary season with 35 home runs recorded as of August 6th. The man known throughout the country as the Bambino remains a constant challenge to every pitcher who takes the mound against him. He hasn't quite mirrored his remarkable 1921 feats, but the season is not over yet. The summer sporting season continues to provide remarkable stories of achievement. Yet perhaps none will be remembered quite as vividly as the sight of a 19-year-old American girl entering one of the world's most difficult passages and emerging not only victorious, but a record holder. For that, Miss Gertrude Ederle deserves the admiration of sportsmen everywhere. I've been Colonel Frederick Davies with The Measure of Men.
A kind thank you, Colonel. It seems not a single broadcast goes by without you explaining another of the world's athletic records being broken. We live in remarkable times. Our first sponsors of this evening's broadcast are Dr. Caldwell's Syrup Pepsin, when one needs regularity.
Oh, Lordy me, don't you know, I got the constipation and I want to go, can't you see? I'm an old folk, I got weakened bowels and they are broke. I need regularity, not Christian charity. That's why I take Dr. Caldwell Syrup Pepsin. Dr. Caldwell, he's made a laxative for you and me. Dr. Caldwell, he's at the grand old age of 83. If you want good bowels, don't throw in the towels. Dr. Caldwell Syrup Pepsin, purges step out and Caldwell steps in. Heavens to Betsy, don't you know? Caldwell Syrup Pepsin helps me go, can't you see? No physics for me, gentle easy bowel movement makes me free. I've got regularity, just like Christian charity. That's why I took Dr. Caldwell Syrup Pepsin. Dr. Caldwell, he's made a laxative for you you and me. Dr. Caldwell, he's at the grand old age of 83. If you want good bowels, don't throw in the towels. Dr. Caldwell syrup Pepsin, purge your step out and Caldwell steps in.
Our next segment for the evening is The Hollywood Eye with Miss Vivian Cross. Vivian?
Hello, my dears. Well, at long last, I have seen Rudolph Valentino's The Son of the Sheik. I'd nearly given up hope. For weeks, I'd been hearing about the picture, reading about the picture, and seeing Rudy's handsome face staring back at me from advertisements, while my own theater apparently remained determined to make me wait. But at last, the picture arrived, and I went to the earliest matinee I could possibly manage. I had intended, of course, to see the picture once. Naturally, I saw it again, and then, well, the theater was refrigerated. What was I supposed to do? Ladies, if you have spent any portion of this summer attempting to remain presentable in the summer heat, you will understand my decision perfectly. But enough about me. Let's talk about Mr. Valentino. It is a glowingly romantic film, as if any of us would be surprised. Playing the son of the illustrious former character, he seems to have a particular penchant for blondes, thanks to Vilma Banksy's heroine, Yasmin, the dancing girl. The film is exactly what all we women with our little girl dreams want. A dashing dark hero to sweep us away upon a majestic speed. The picture itself is grand entertainment. Deserts, horses, romance, danger, beautiful costumes, and enough intrigue to keep a woman quite comfortably occupied for an afternoon. Of course, there will be those who insist that such pictures are too extravagant, too romantic, too far removed from ordinary life. To which I say, precisely. We have had quite enough of ordinary life. Bills, laundry, and summer heat. If the photoplays wish to give us a few hours in which we may forget all that, I see no reason whatsoever to object. And after waiting all these weeks, I certainly wasn't going to waste the opportunity. So yes, I remained for another showing, and perhaps another. I shall not say precisely how many times I saw The Son of the Sheik that day. A lady is entitled to keep some things to herself. But I will say this. When the lights came up, I was disappointed to discover that summer was still outside. For a few hours at least, the summer heat, the toil, and the ordinary business of the world seemed very far away indeed. If that is what the Picture Pals promises us, then I, for one, am quite happy to purchase a ticket. I do want to tell you one last thing. I thoroughly enjoyed my day out at the theater. The service of entertainment is truly a thing of wonder and convenience. During my second shilling, a gentleman walked the aisles selling peanuts, which I could purchase to dull my growing hunger. Free ice water was provided thanks to the refrigeration devices. I was perfectly comfortable and well taken care of, and my entire day of blissful entertainment in a cool, comfortable theater cost me 25 cents. It was a small price to pay for what I considered a swell day. I hope you all can have a similar experience. This has been Vivian Cross with The Hollywood Eye.
We thank you, Miss Cross, for that glowing review of Mr. Valentino's latest picture. I agree that the evenings out in cool summer theaters make for pleasant experiences. Next, we have Mrs. Gertrude Ederle helping out the fairer sex with women's concerns.
Good evening, ladies. The letter I received recently is from a pair of sisters who ask advice about their sibling woes. They write, Dear Ms. Ederle, we are two sisters, both working women, and we have a ne'er-do-well brother whom our father has supported for years to please Mother. A few weeks ago, he got in trouble and begged us for half of the money we had saved up to get him out of jail. In order to keep from breaking Mother's heart, we gave it to him against the advice of our father. Although it took the savings of years, he is now out of jail and again annoying the life out of us for more money. Signed, Mary and Martha. My dearest sisters, Mary and Martha, here is my advice for you. Refuse to give him one single solitary cent. If you don't, you will spend the remainder of your lives toiling to support a worthless loafer. For the more you give him, the more he will demand. You will become merely the slaves of a jailbird. The most senseless thing that any family ever does is to impoverish itself to pay some black sheep out of trouble, protect him from the punishment he deserves. The idea is, of course, that it saves them from disgrace, but this is not true. Everybody knows that the boy who steals is a thief, whether his parents sell the house over their heads and take the last cent they have saved up for their old age to pay back the money he has purloined, or whether they let the law take its course and he gets the jail sentence that is his due. When we save the sinner from the consequences of his sin, we aid and abet him in sinning. We encourage him to go on in sinning because he feels that he can sin with impunity. The idea behind our whole system of punishment of criminals is to reform them by teaching them that wrongdoing doesn't pay, and that if they break the laws, they will be punished for doing so. Many a hoodlum has been turned into a decent citizen by 3 months of hard labor in a reformatory. It is parents who are accessory before the fact, as the law puts it, to half the crimes that are committed by lazy, shiftless young chaps who would rather graft a living than work for it. They know that their parents will pay their fines as long as mother and father can toil. They know that they will never be without a place to sleep and something to eat. Don't encourage your worthless brother in his wrongdoing because mother weeps and robs you of your hard earnings to give to him. Have enough backbone to refuse to be the goat that she wants to sacrifice to the prodigal son. Sincerely, Peter Kadare.
Thank you kindly, Mrs. Kadare. Many of our American families might have a black sheep or two to contend with. Let's hope your advice goes heeded. Next, our final sponsors for the evening are Golden Treatment, when it's time to stop their drinking ways.
He got that whiskey and he can't stop. He'll die by the bottle, he'll die by the drop. All us wise mothers and sisters, we gotta stop the bootlegger's greed. Just a package of golden treatment in his glass is all you need. It's the golden treatment, ladies, getting him away from that drunkard's grave. Trust Dr. Haynes, sisters, just some powder in his drink and he will behave. Rock gut whiskey is taking his soul. Homebrew steels are taking their toll as we save him from himself. He will be thankful as long as you live. Be that faithful wife, what more can you give? It's the golden treatment, ladies, getting him away from that drunkard's grave. Trust Dr. Haynes, sisters, just some powder in his drink and he will behave.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, our time together once again draws to a close. This evening, we have considered a nation seemingly determined to move ever faster, from record-breaking engines and railways to the remarkable achievement of Miss Gertrude Ederle in the waters of the English Channel. We have joined Miss Crofts at the Picture Palace for the long-awaited Son of the Sheikh, enjoyed the curious offerings of the news wires, and heard from Mrs. Kadare, whose sensible counselor reminds us that even the most troublesome family member may yet be brought to account. Whether your thoughts tonight are upon the pursuit of another record, the pleasures of a cool theater on a warm summer day, or simply the curious happenings of the world around us, we hope you have enjoyed our company. There is certainly no shortage of things to occupy one's attention in these remarkable summer days. From all of us here at WTQX, we thank you for welcoming us into your homes once more. And we thank you, as always, for your kind attention.
WTQX. The evening wireless.